Probably whenever we talk about information technology, the one thing that strikes our mind is automation. The one thing that strikes our mind is doing things at the speed of light. As all of us know that information technology is not about just the computer, the desktop or the laptops that you are seeing in your daily walk of life, probably nobody in this world could have ever thought about this factor that database is going to become the key or the central aspect of growth. Good morning and welcome to the introductory session for Information Technology for Business 4th semester BBA, where we're going to talk about this topic and we're going to get introduced to the subject called as information technology. Now, everybody knows that we are already in the age of digital era. So nothing new to talk about IT, but definitely there are much more to learn and many more innovations to come, which is going to set this digital age into the next league as far as possible. So let's first get into the agenda today. We're going to talk about the syllabus, the learning outcome, the units, the internals, and then we're going to talk about the exam pattern also. So before we start getting into the syllabus, I just want you to understand that this subject carries an equal weightage and it requires a greater amount of understanding and preparation, because it's not just about using the computer, but it's about getting into the various modules, understanding in depth the functions and the systems component. So let me start with the information technology and information systems, the subsystems, database, and Microsoft Excel, which is a very, very important as well as the practical part of the subject. So what is going to be the learning outcomes? Probably whenever we talk about information technology, the one thing that strikes our mind is automation. The one thing that strikes our mind is doing things at the speed of light. But more than that, IT as in information technology has always been the fundamental driver for growth. Now, when you look into the usage of information technology today in business, the platform, the base on which the entire business is being built upon is information technology. Moment with the advent of internet coming into the world, I think the entire parameter, the entire shift in terms of looking into the business completely changed. And that's why we're going to analyze the usage of information technology. We're also going to learn some core concepts of computing in modern system. Applications of Excel are going to come, and awareness about the latest information. Now, IT is one subject which never ends, because every day, every minute, every second, there is some innovation going around this corner of the globe, and people are trying to make it much, much more advanced and better so that people can use and the business can advance further. Now, let's go ahead and try to get into the modules, starting with the module 1, where I'm going to get introduced to the information system, the need for it, followed by the inter-organization communication, knowledge processing, managers and activities in terms of information technology. As all of us know that information technology is not about just the computer, the desktop or the laptops that you are seeing in your daily walk of life, but you are going to get yourself introduced into what those systems are, why do we need those systems, how we are going to manage the process, what is the outcomes that are coming out of it, and what are the different terminologies. So the role of managers in managing system, everything is going to get introduced in this particular module. Followed by which in the second module, we're going to talk about the subsystems. So we've got a whole lot of subsystems, starting with the transaction processing, management information, decision, group decision, executive, and the expert system. Now, all of these are a part of the IT, but the way how each one of them are going to be used in the business functionality is entirely different. So definitely this is quite interesting for all of us to know about how these subsystems work and what these subsystems exactly mean to us. Followed by which we are also going to talk about database management system. Probably nobody in this world could have ever thought about this factor that database is going to become the key or the central aspect of growth or the central aspect for development altogether. Just imagine yourself for a moment. Today, you are surrounded by data. Every single transaction, every single click that you make on the system or every single flip that you make on your mobile phone is a part of the data revolution. The amount of data that we are crunching, that we are moving forward or getting ourselves connected cannot be counted through our fingers, or even it's beyond the calculation of human mind. So people have started creating data centers today where the data is going to be upheld for the future transactions. So keeping all that in mind, we're going to learn this particular module called as DBMS, the Database Management System, through which we are going to learn about the concepts of database, the types of database model, what are the advantages and disadvantages, data warehousing, access to the database, and of course we are also going to learn about creating of forms through MS Access. How are we going to generate reports through MS Access? So quite an amount of application that we are going to see here. Followed by which, let me come on to the module 4, the Microsoft Excel in business. I think this is probably one thing that is quite interesting for all of us. The reason here is that many of us would have avoided this particular app in our younger days because this is too numerical for us. And then, it has got a lot of formulas to think and rethink. But then without Excel today, we cannot think about any business because the basic calculation to that of the advanced presentation of your statistical data comes with the help of Excel. So whenever we talk about Excel, it is not just about putting those numbers in that cells or in that boxes, but it is all about calculation, presenting the way the data needs to be given to the client and projecting the growth and the scale of the company. So definitely Microsoft Excel has got always surprises kept in for us. We've got a lot of functions to learn from here, starting from the VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, simple addition, subtraction functions to that of the most complicated functions that anybody can think about. So definitely module 4, Microsoft Excel, is going to be a challenging and a very interesting topic. Followed by which, let me get on to the skill development. I think probably there are an N number of activities that we can talk about the skill development, starting from creating the forms, creating a pivot table, learning about the Access, learning about the various apps of Microsoft. So it's going to be quite an exciting journey. And the most important thing for the students here is that this is one module that can take you and change your life. Why? Because once you learn Microsoft Excel and Access in depth, you can apply it in your practical walk of life, be it your own business or you're working under somebody. Definitely you can bring in a lot of automation and change to the business perspectives. Followed by which, let me get on to internals, the most important part for students, where we have a 30 marks coming up, which is going to be in 2 parts. That is, you have internal 1 and internal 2. The internal 1 will have unit 1 and unit 2 for 30 marks. Internal 2 will have unit 3 and unit 4. I would request all the students to kindly take up both the internals. Please do not be in the fact that I've just written 1, but rather make an attempt to take both the internals, that's the test 1 and test 2, so that you are able to score your maximum marks in internal. 30 marks is quite an important aspect, and when you score that full 30 marks, that will definitely help you to improve your scores in the external exam also. Now, what about your external exams? We have 80 marks looking at you, which is going to be divided in the form of part A, B, and C, right from 15 marks, 10 marks, and the 5 marks coming up here, which will make the total there. And now the most important thing that we are going to talk about here is that in this entire thing, when we are talking about, it is very, very important for all of us that you pay a lot of attention to the formulas, to the methodology, to the applications, all these aspects. Why? Because this 80 marks, as we are talking about, is not going to be just theory, but they might also ask you practical questions, applications of information technology, the various functionalities. So please pay attention to the regular classes and try to gain as much of knowledge possible, because once you do that, you can score this entire 80 marks. It's a full and full on this paper. followed by which let me give you the books for reference. There are many books available, but one of them is iLearn, and iLearn where we're going to talk about management information system. We're going to talk about database management. We have information systems from Olson, so you can take any one of these books and learn it. This will be very helpful for you in terms of learning as well as in the practical walk of life. With this, let me come to the end of this particular session. I hope and believe that all the facts and figures that we have discussed at the introductory session will help you to understand the subject and score good marks in the coming examination. So I wish all my students for the upcoming semester, we are definitely going to make a change. We're going to learn something new and gather new experience in terms of the practical functions as well as the theoretical knowledge that we are going to gain out of this subject. So thank you once again for joining me on this wonderful session. You have a great day ahead.